They changed Miyuki's walk-up song. Did it have any effect on him? And why does TJ Sensei like teasing us? Let's break it down. Hey everyone, Bruce, Doomfist Anime here. Laundry Room Bruce, Monkey D. Gucci, world's #1 striker. You know what it is. Hope you're doing well. I am, because I'm talking about the latest chapter of Diamond No Ace, Act 2, Chapter 249, and after a few days of searching around for the chapter, I heard it was on YouTube, but I just waited out for the scanlation, the translation to come out, and because of the whole manga Dex thing going on, it took a few days, but finally it's out. Better late than ever. So, here to talk about the chapter. And guys, as of this video, 98 subscribers. We're so close. I really appreciate all the support that I've been getting, but I have a few things in mind for when I hit 100 and some changes to the layout of the channel, so the visuals, so look forward to that. But without any further ado, let me know if the mic is good. Trying to bring it closer to my face. Hope I sound better. Appreciate it. Let me know in the comments. So we pick up like last chapter with Miyuki coming up to bat with Tetsuya's song playing, the Lupin the Third, Lupin the Third, a man that has his own world, that whole spiel. He's walking up to that, and this chapter, and why I mentioned TJ Sensei teasing us in the opening is because, I'll break it down right now, the chapter doesn't really give us any conclusions, any mini conclusions, or kind of finality. It really is it's a cliffhanger setup chapter. It's a chapter meant to give us the cliffhanger to the next chapter, specifically because we have a 3-2 count with Miyuki at bat. Now, a 3-2 count, as we should all know, is 3 balls, 2 strikes. So he either gets walked, or he gets struck out, or he hits the ball. So there's, it's do or die. There's no leeway here. It's either he just keeps fouling it, walks, gets struck out, hits the ball. It's do or die time. So this isn't a bad thing. I don't think it's necessarily a negative on TJ Sensei's part, because, chapter 250, it's a big deal. It's a big kind of celebration, big number to hit, especially since this is Act 2. So this is the 250th chapter overall, but it is a big number, big milestone for TJ Sensei. So I imagine he wants a Miyuki hit on chapter 250, a home run. And we get signs of that coming in this chapter, so it's not like nothing happens, but I wanted to point out that it is kind of a cliffhanger chapter overall. We're not seeing any progression in the match in the sense that somebody's getting on base or anything like that, but more to the point. So what is this chapter kind of telling us about Miyuki or Kosei or anything? Is it showing us something? It is. It's not all just cliffhanger magic. It is showing us something with the kind of attitude that one Kosei has, how far he's come along, and how much the support and role of captain and cleanup has kind of impacted Miyuki as a player. Because we see that he walks up to, like I mentioned, Lupin the Third, he walks up to that song, and he kind of realizes the weight, kind of like Saromura does. He realizes in this match kind of what he's really carrying, and how much when you're standing in that batter's box, you're not the captain, you're not Miyuki the catcher, you're someone who's carrying the weights and feelings of the team at that moment, someone who's going toe-to-toe with the pitcher. And in this moment, he's facing Kosei, who TJ Sensei I think has done a great job of presenting as somebody who's now fully fledged as an ace, somebody who has been willing to accept his own burdens, his own teammates' feelings into his pitching, while still remaining true to himself, which I think is a big theme and a big kind of point these chapters, these matches have made, especially in recent kind of arcs. But I think it's interesting that Kosei is going through his own growth while at the same time Miyuki is, and they're both kind of major characters in Saromura's life, more so than others. Miyuki's obviously more so, but Kosei is as well. He's been chatting with him online. We've seen them go back and forth and have their matchups. So I think it's just an interesting dichotomy that TJ Sensei's placed out there with Miyuki and Kosei. Speaking of Kosei, we see his teammates and his coach kind of get a zoom in on, like a panel zoom in, with kind of their support as well, cheering him on and telling him that they want him to pitch his own way to maintain himself, because they will score is what they're telling him. Their feelings that are reaching him are saying that he doesn't need to play passively. He needs to play as himself as he would normally because they will score. Because they know Kosei is a genius who can handle the situation. They don't want him changing himself. So that's kind of what I took from it. Just a little mini note on Kosei. I've liked how far he's come, kind of his journey that we've seen. Even though he isn't the main character, this series gives us pictures and characters like this where we see their roles as aces just as much as we see Sawamura and Furia. We see their journeys as aces, but we see other teams as well. So I actually do appreciate that about this series a lot, but if you're here, you probably do as well. And we continue on with kind of the showdown, and we see some foul hits. We see we see Kosei try and get Miyuki out with breaking balls and low pitches. They keep the pitches really, really low, but he continues to battle it out because he's been watching Miyuki has been watching Kosei's pitching, so at this point he can kind of eye what he's doing, and it makes it really frustrating for Kosei, understandably, because he's been kind of frustrated with Miyuki all game. Like we saw the first matchup, like Miyuki doesn't really seem phased that he got struck out. He's just like, okay. And then like he just walks away and tells Zoro. No, he tells Zono immediately, and Kosei from that point on is kind of annoyed with the fact. So we're seeing this matchup go down, 3 balls, 2 strikes. So is it kind of obvious that Miyuki's going to get a home run? I think at this point, yes. I think it'd be strange to have all this build up for a moment where Miyuki gets struck out. Because I'm trying to think of the story that TJ Sensei wants to tell. And I don't think he wants to tell a story where we get all this build up and hype and kind of back and forth and juxtaposition with 2 characters, all that. He doesn't want to set all that up just to get struck out. I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe if this was a match about Zono Senpai and he was, having a moment and he was going to be the hero, but I don't think that's the case. I think this is the evolution. This match is a match of evolutions. This is the evolution of Miyuki, the captain of Sato, and the cleanup of Sato. I think that's what this match is also showing, along with the resolve of Kawakami and Sawamura's growth. Now, a question for me to you. Does this match feel like a pitching battle, or does it feel like it's Kosei versus Sato, and vice versa? Because we've seen before pitching battles like Furia versus Hongo Masamune and Koshin. That felt like a pitching battle. The reason why I ask is because this match, as it's gone on, and maybe it's because I'm reading week to week, feels like it's more showcasing Sawamura's talent and his growth. And while we see Kosei, I ask because Kosei is also bumping up to another level. We see him, in the characters mentioned it, his pitching is getting even better. He's top notch. He's in the most, back against the wall situation. He's still maintaining focus and getting even better. So it's not like he's slouching. It's not like he's playing poorly at all. Quite the opposite. But it makes me wonder how you guys feel about this match, reading it week to week, because it feels unlike other pitching battles, and I couldn't explain why. Even though I feel like that's what TJ Sensei's framing it as. But I'm sure once the match is over, I'll go reread it. I'm sure a lot of us will, and it will feel like a pitching battle kind of when you run it all the way through. But just kind of a week-to-week feeling. It doesn't feel exactly like a pitching battle, but I wanted to get everyone's thoughts on this. So comment down below how you feel about it, how you feel about that. Is it a pitching battle? Is it not? The final thing I wanted to talk about was how Yuki, right, he's been observing Kosei this whole match, and he can understand Kosei's pitching style and kind of keep an eye on what he's doing, and that's why he's presenting such a challenge right now for Kosei. And Kosei, in turn, recognizes that because he's done this, because Miyuki has done this, he puts him on the same level as Todoroki and Sanada from Yakushi. He puts them in those categories where Miyuki does not fit into the box or the kind of summary or expectations of Kosei, and it frustrates him to no end. I think that's what Kosei both loves and hates the most, as somebody who does not do that. Because, right, he hated Sanada because of the hit he got off him, but he loves Raichi, he loves Todoroki because of, the challenge he presents and kind of just how far he exceeds expectations through brute force. And that's what he kind of sees, not necessarily the brute force part, but he sees in Miyuki just the challenge and the defiance and the exceeding of expectations as a batter could present to him as a pitcher. I think that's the final note in this chapter for me, is just kind of like that recognition of Miyuki as a great batter, as somebody who Kosei respects ultimately, and someone he does not like to pitch against. I think is another thing that TJ Sensei is proposing here, or presenting here at least. So this video is going to be a little shorter, guys, just because this chapter, like I said, was a setup chapter. I'm trying to present some ideas and things that the chapter brought up when I was reading it, kind of what I was thinking about all day when I was reading it, but there's not a whole lot here, so please bear with me with that. Just wanted to talk about that, guys. I do have a Twitter, Bruce D Anime, so search me on there, follow me on there. I want to tweet more, but I'd like to know that some of you people on my YouTube channel do follow me there, so you guys see what I'm talking about, see any announcements I make or ideas I have if you want to talk to me. Like I said, guys, close to 100 subscribers. I'm 2 subscribers away as of the time of this video. I want to make more sports manga content. I've thought about making a second channel. I know. Just for One Piece stuff. I'm thinking about it, but I've been throwing myself more and more into my niche of sports manga. I know, like my sometimes my video subjects are a little infrequent, a little all over the place, but I've been enjoying making these videos about Blue Lock and Diamond Ace especially, and Night Dragon's Ball Parade, which had great chapters this week, which I will talk about. We'll have a video out for. And I am going to have a video out with another channel I know, Roano's Arc. He's a One Piece YouTuber. We're going to be talking about some One Piece topics. Specifically for me, I'm going to talk to him about power scaling. I know he's been thinking about brainstorming some ideas for me, so we're going to have a conversation about One Piece, so look forward to that, guys. So if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe. Appreciate you for watching. Until next time, guys. Later.